Okay, good afternoon. Looks like everyone's here. Oh, still waiting for a couple people to sign on, I think. Let me just check. Okay, looks like everyone's here, so we can go ahead and get started. First, I will go over some introductory items, and then we will move on to your presentations. As you are aware, these proceedings are being live streamed to the public, and the live stream has been started. Please silence your cell phones and laptop keyboards. Good afternoon and welcome to the Office of Tax Appeals. We are here today in the appeal of Vesta Moody, OTA case number 2402-15493. I am Judge Natasha Ralston and I'm the lead judge on this panel. Also with me on the panel are Judge Long and Judge Lambert. Also present today is our hearing reporter, Ms. Alonzo. Ms. Alonzo is reporting this hearing verbatim. To ensure we have an accurate record, we ask that each person speaks one at a time and avoid speaking over one another. Also speak clearly and loudly. When needed, Ms. Alonzo or any member of the panel will interject to ensure proper transcription. After the hearing, Ms. Alonzo will produce the official hearing transcript, which will be available on the Office of Tax Appeals website. This hearing is being recorded and transcribed electronically. To ensure we have an accurate record, we ask that each person speaks one at a time and avoid speaking over one another. Even if you think you know what the person is going to say, please wait until they are finished speaking. Also, please speak clearly and loudly. And when needed, I or any member of this panel will interject. And after the hearing, OTA will produce an electronic transcript upon request. The Office of Tax Appeals is not a court, but is an independent appeals body, which is staffed by subject matter experts and is independent of any tax agency. Okay, are there any questions about anything I've said before we go on the record?
Yes, Your Honor. Can you hear me? This is Nancy Battelle.
Yes, I can hear you.
I just wanted to make sure, is Michelle Puma also present? She was going to appear via Zoom as a witness for us.
Yes, I'm here, Beth. I'm
Okay,
here,
good.
Nancy.
Okay, thank you, Michelle.
Okay, great. So we are now on the record in the case of Vesta Moody, OTA case number 2402-15493. The date is January 22nd, 2026, and the time is approximately 1:03 p.m. This hearing is being held electronically with the agreement of the parties. I am Judge Ralston. My co-panelists today are Judge Long and Judge Lambert. I'm going to ask the parties to identify themselves and who they represent, starting with Ms. Battelle.
Yes, my name is Nancy Battelle, Battel. I represent Vesta Moody, who is present and sitting next to me. And as one of our witnesses, someone who just appeared briefly, is Michelle Puma.
Thank you. And for respondent, CDTFA?
I'm Vanessa Bedford, attorney for CDTFA.
Yes, attorney with CDTFA.
Jason Parker, Chief of Headquarters Operations Bureau, CDTFA.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So we held a pre-hearing conference in this matter in December of 2025. And as stated in the minutes and order, there is one issue to be decided in this appeal, and that is whether appellant Vesta Moody is personally liable for the unpaid liabilities of MSC Inc., DBA Gorilla Metal. Ms. Battelle, do you agree that that's the issue?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Ms. Bedford, do you agree that that is the issue?
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
Your Honor, as a preliminary matter, can we get a comment on what the amount that is claimed to be in dispute, because I have an understanding, but my client this morning just handed me a statement of account that she received from the department on dated January 14th, indicating that if she remitted the amount of $570, that was the statement that of account of what is due to them on this outstanding obligation. However, according to correspondence I received, or she received back in January 22nd of 2024, the amount is quite different.
Okay, Ms. Bedford, do you have that handy, what the amount is at this time?
I can look in our evidence pile, but I don't know what the letter that Ms. Patel is referencing.
Oh, okay, thank you.
That, Ms. Ralston, that should be something that Mr. Parker could probably look up while we're going through preliminaries and give an update. $570 seems like a collection cost recovery fee amount, but Mr. Parker can verify.
Yeah, hi, this is
What does
Jason
that mean?
Parker.
Ms.
I'm
Patel,
sorry.
yeah, I'm gonna let Mr. Parker, he probably can answer your question.
So the total current liability for Ms. Moody right now is at $26,798.92. And I can get the breakdown of tax, penalty, and interest if you'd like, but that's the total amount. I just pulled it out of our system today.
Okay, because I'm looking at in January 22nd, 2024, the tax liability had been reduced to $14,969.83, and then with penalties, it was up to $17,280.55. But that was over a year ago.
Right, so the tax amount, $14,969.83 is correct.
Okay,
The penalties currently are $2,310.72.
right?
And the interest is $9,518.37.
Okay, so the interest is what brings it up to the 26,000.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Parker, for that information. We appreciate that. I'm just going to cover a few more things and then we'll move on to your presentations. So CDTFA has submitted exhibits A through J. And at the pre-hearing conference, appellant has not objected to those exhibits. Ms. Patel, did you receive respondents exhibits A through J, and did you have any objections?
I did not receive them on the date that we were supposed to exchange them, no.
Okay, the exhibits were sent with respondents brief, and then we also sent and then that was sent from CDTFA.
Right.
And then so you would have received them then. And then OTA, we sent the hearing binder.
Yes.
And that would have all the same exhibits in it. So
Okay. Yes, I'm looking at my my computer now, and I uploaded your binder, so I do have them here.
okay. And did you have any objections?
No.
Okay, thank you. And then subsequent to the pre-hearing conference, Ms. Patel submitted an index identifying 7 exhibits that had also been previously submitted. So for ease of reference, when putting together the aforementioned hearing binder, OTA renumbered appellant's exhibits to comply with our naming convention and also put those in the hearing binder. So we have appellant's exhibits listed as exhibits 1 through 7. Ms. Patel, did you have a chance to look at that? And did that include all of your exhibits?
Yes, I have them, and I'll review them. My numbers are a little different, but we'll be able to, I can identify them along with yours as we
Okay.
go along.
Okay, great. And then, so Ms. Medford, did you receive appellant's exhibits and did you have any objections?
We receive them and we don't have any objections.
Thank you. So respondents exhibits A through J are admitted into evidence without objection, and appellant's exhibits 1 through 7 are admitted without objection. Moving on to witnesses, Ms. Patel, you indicated that you would be testifying under oath, and also Michelle Puma, CPA, would be testifying, and then the appellant, Vesta Moody, would also be testifying under oath. Ms. Bedford, did you have any objections to any of appellant's witnesses?
No, we do not.
Thank you. Oh, and Ms. Patel, is that still correct? Those are the 3 witnesses?
Yes, that is correct, Your Honor.
Thank you. So what will happen is right before you give your presentation in a few minutes, I will swear all of you in, and then you'll be able to proceed when we get to that point. So let's see, we are ready to move on to our opening presentations. Ms. Patel, you requested 60 minutes for your presentation and witness testimony. And Ms. Bedford, you requested 20 minutes for your presentation. Does anyone have any questions before we move on to presentations?
No.
Okay, and Ms. Bedford is indicating no, so thank you. No questions. So for your presentation, Ms. Patel, you can set it up however you like. If you want to give a presentation and then move into witness testimony, or if you want to move into witness testimony, you can also ask your witnesses to testify in a narrative formation, or you can ask questions and have them answer. After the witnesses testify, we will give CDTFA the opportunity to ask questions since they're testifying under oath. And then also the panel members may have questions. So I'm thinking because there are 3 witnesses, I'm thinking after each witness testifies, we'll stop for a minute and then see if CDTFA had any questions, or Ms. Bedford, would you prefer to wait until their testimony, or all 3 witnesses have testified, and then give you the opportunity to ask questions?
I believe we can wait till all 3 witnesses have testified, then we can ask questions if we need to.
Okay, thank you. So that seems to work. So Ms. Patel, the floor is yours. You have 60 minutes for your presentation, and you may begin when you're ready.
Would you like
sorry.
to
Let
swear
me.
us in?
Yes, thank you. Let me go ahead and swear everyone in. So Ms. Puma, Ms. Patel, and Ms. Moody, if you could please raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Please answer one at a time, yes or no.
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, I do.
Thank you.
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now Ms. Patel, you can go ahead and begin.
Okay, good afternoon. It's our position that Vesta Moody is not a responsible party regarding the filing of the sales tax returns, nor was the failure of their not being filed the result of an intentional, conscious, and voluntary course of action on her part. I believe we briefed in the written submission that personal liability can only be posed on a responsible party if that individual willfully fails to pay or causes not to be paid the taxes due. And this failure must be the result of an intentional, conscious, and voluntary course of action. You will see it's clear from the evidence that will be presented that Vesta Moody should not be considered a responsible party. It's clear that once she became aware of the sales tax liability, she did everything within her power to cooperate with the department in obtaining the information that they requested regarding the delinquent sales tax. And I believe that, based upon the testimony, that you should find accordingly. Now, by way of offer of proof, since I'm testifying, I'm want to let the court know I'm an attorney licensed to practice in all the state courts, appellate courts, and before the U.S. Supreme Court. And I've been in practice for over 40 years. My practice initially, I've got a JD and an MBA, and I consulted with and helped businesses getting a start in California. And Terry Moody was one of my customers in that regard. My practice now consists primarily of, I do estate and probate litigation, financial elder abuse cases, and I'm pro bono legal counsel for senior adult legal assistants in California, in Santa Clara County. Now, by way again of offer of proof, I was contacted by Terry Moody when he relocated to California to open a franchise for a Canadian-based company called Metal Supermarkets. I assisted him when he and this was over 25 years ago. I knew him over 25 years. I helped him with his subsequent purchase of the franchise, which he operated as Metal Service Center in Hayward. Now, although I was contacted by Terry Moody over the years to answer questions about general litigation matters unrelated to this dispute, I never agreed to act as an officer of Metal Service Center, and I was unaware that I was listed and as an officer on the statement of information that was filed in July 10th, 2017, which I have enclosed. Let's see where it's an exhibit in your binder. It's exhibit where was it? I believe it's exhibit Nancy. Oh, actually, you don't even have that in it. He had listed me as an officer on one of his filings, but this was without my knowledge or consent. As I said, I had very little contact with Terry Moody prior to his death on May 25th, 2017. It was not until I was contacted by Vesta Moody and learned of his sudden and unexpected death that I became aware of the company's dire financial straits. When I learned that Vesta had been contacted by the California Department of Tax and Fee Administration, which I will refer to as the department, I tried to explain to Vesta Moody the process as best I could. I told her this was, outside of my realm of expertise. However, I told her she should cooperate fully with the department in trying to provide the information that they had requested, since she was the only one remaining at the office in a position to do so. Now, it wasn't until Vesta started looking into the company's financial situation that she became aware that Terry Moody had included her name on many of the corporate documents. She also found out that an action had been filed against her in Alameda County Superior Court by the American Express credit card company regarding her owing them $73,358.51 in expenses charged to a business credit card of Metal Service Center. However, apparently, Mr. Moody had opened up this credit card in her name. She was unaware of it, and had no knowledge that this had been done. Now, this action was subsequently dismissed by the court upon proof that this had been done without Vesta Moody's knowledge or consent. Now, although the department claims that Vesta was the person generally authorized to manage the company's sales and tax affairs during the liability period and afterward. From testimony from Vesta Moody, you will see that this was not the case. Her husband had full control of running the company and managing the company on a day-to-day basis. She assisted as she could in the office, doing things such as opening mail, making collection calls, answering the phone, and generally applying assistance as an assistant rather than office manager. She had no involvement with preparation of the taxes, um, income taxes, sales taxes, or any annual reporting of information to the Secretary of State's office. These matters were handled by Terry Moody and Metal Supermarket's bookkeeper, Judy Carr, as well as the accounting firm that handled his accounting matters since he came to California. And that's the CPA firm of Crawford Pimentel. And Michelle Puma will testify regarding their involvement. But before that, I want to introduce some of the documents that we've talked about to show that all of the involvement with the department prior to Terry Moody's death was with Terry Moody and Metal Service Center's bookkeeper, Judy Carr. Thank you. Now, I'd like to call your attention to, I have it identified as Exhibit 7. However, I see that your binder has it marked as Exhibit 1, I believe it. Okay, if you look at Exhibit 1, page 2 of Exhibit 1 shows, oh no, I'm sorry. No, this is Exhibit 1, yes. If we look at the first 1-7, okay, if we look at Exhibit 1, it shows that the first contact that the auditor, Mr. Chi, had with Metal Service Center was on, let's see, January 13, 2017. They mailed something to the company. On February 7th, 2017, Mr. Chi called and asked for Mr. Moody, who he's identified as the president and person filing the return. Mr. Moody was not available, but he called back later on in that date. And then on March 8th, 2017, he met with Mr. Moody in Hayward's office, again acknowledging that Mr. Moody needed to complete the forms relating to the tax situation. On March 8th, 2017, the form was sent to Mr. Moody by email. And again, the auditor was explaining what information was needed. On March 13th, 2017, he then had contact with Mr. Moody, who was not in the office and was to get back to him. Then if we look at the next page, shows the next contact was in April 3rd, 2017. Mr. Moody is not in the office. April 4th, 2017, received email responses from Mr. Moody. He said that his wife was in the process of cancer treatment, and he was busy at home taking care of his wife and would get back to them. April 11th, 2017, again, they received the forms from Mr. Moody. May 30th, 2017, they had a contact with Judy Carr. She said she is the bookkeeper for the business and was trying to locate the information that was requested by the auditor. Then if we go to May 30th, 2017. Sent up follow-up email to Mr. Moody to see if he is available to schedule an appointment. Then the next entry, May 30th, 2017. Received email from Mrs. Vesta Moody. She said she is the wife of taxpayer Mr. Terry Moody. She said Mr. Moody just passed away on last Thursday. She was in a bit of a turmoil right now, and she requested the auditor to postpone the audit for a few weeks. May 30th, 2017, and Mr. Moody had passed away
25th.
on May
25th.
25th. And then if you look at the rest, all of the contacts then were with Vesta Moody. He then met with Vesta Moody. And I don't want to go through each of the entries, he met with Vesta Moody. She continually provided him with the information that he requested. Unfortunately, during this period of time, and actually I'll ask her now, during this period of time, did you have any contact, Vesta Moody, with any attorney or the accountant to discuss
Yes,
this matter?
yes.
And why don't you tell the judge what contact?
After my husband passed, I called Nancy and Michelle because I didn't know what to do. I was never involved in the business. I had no idea how to figure out what some of the things were that the auditor was asking for, or even where to find them. I wasn't able to reach the bookkeeper. Well, I did reach her, but she wasn't being cooperative. And she worked remotely, so I didn't even know where to look. I know what sales tax is, but I had no idea how that did anything or what to do. Or
Had you ever assisted with the preparation of the sales tax?
No.
Until you were contacted and spoke with Mr. Chai, were you aware that there was this delinquency
I
in
knew
the
that
tax filing?
I knew that he was being audited, but I didn't know anything about it. To me, it wasn't a big deal because I know he'd been audited before. And one time he said they got money back. Another time he said he had to pay, he was off $200 or something. So I really didn't know what to do. And I was trying to help, but I really was way out of my depth.
Now, were you ever given any forms by the auditor to sign?
Yes, he told me he needed to have a form signed and that in order to turn in a report. And I said, well, I don't think I should be signing this because I'm not in charge or anything. And he said, oh, and I said, I didn't want to be responsible for anything because I didn't understand what it was for. He said I was not responsible. I was just signing so he could finish his paperwork.
Okay. Now, would you have ever signed these forms if you realized it was going to implicate your liability for non-payment of the taxes?
Good God, no. I would have run from that business and just let it shut.
Okay. Now, and is that ultimately what
Yes.
happened?
Yes.
Um,
I had no idea the business was in such a mess. My husband never let on for a moment.
I'd like to call the court's attention to the same exhibit, and that's an entry by Mr. Chai on January 26, 2018, where he indicates that he was in contact with Mrs. Moody. And so I received a couple of voicemails from you, and he had received this from Mrs. Moody, and saw no point to call you back. I am not the one who knows anything about this. The person who did the bookkeeping quit and is not returning emails or calls for information. This was Terry's company, and he had this mess going when he passed. The stress of his passing, coupled with the financial disaster he left, has caused me health issues. I am no longer connected with the business and it shut the doors in December. The doctor said I had to get out of this or the kids would be losing another parent. All the records are boxed and being stored. I appreciated your kindness in the times we spoke and your patience. Now, at any point in time, did you realize that by signing the forms that Mr. Chai had presented to you, that you were representing yourself out to be the owner of the company?
No, not at
Okay.
any time, no.
Now, there is a form, and let's look at the exhibit. Oh, let's see. Okay, let's look at the court's exhibit. Okay, well, we'll look at the court's exhibit 3. This shows Terry Moody filed in May 27th, 2024, where he lists you as a director of the company. Were you aware that you were listed as a director of the company?
No, I did not.
Did you ever attend any meetings, any corporate meetings of the company?
No, I didn't have anything to do with the business.
Okay. And it also lists Aaron Lander. Who is Aaron Lander?
He was like a general manager for Terry at that time. He left several years later.
Okay.
But
Now, at the time of Terry's death, was he still involved with the
no,
company?
he was not. He had left years before.
Okay. Now, who was left at the company at the time of your husband's death?
Not much. He had closed operations in one location. Well, had cut him in half. There wasn't much business, so the staff was cut. There was Eddie, Busby. I think John was still there. I think there was a delivery guy named Raul. But
How long did they stay with the company?
when Eddie was really the only other, I think, full-time employee. Jeremy was still there part-time, but there was, I mean, nobody was coming in, nobody was calling. The only people calling were people trying to collect money.
Okay. Now, did you?
Miss Patel, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I just want to remind both of you to let the person finish speaking before you answer the question, so that we can make sure the transcript is clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did you completely answer your question?
I think so.
Okay. Now, who was left to show up at the office and try and take care of things after Terry died?
There wasn't anybody, so I did.
Okay. And what did you do?
I tried to open the mail. I tried to contact all the creditors to let them know what happened, and said that I was trying to figure out what was going on and what the financial part was. I opened mail. I tried to do collection calls to collect money, thinking if money came in, then people could get paid.
Did you do anything at all to try and salvage the business or sell the business?
I did. I contacted, I had always been, I worked for the Chamber of Commerce, so I had some business contacts. I reached out to a couple of people that I knew and asked them if they knew of anyone I could contact to see if someone could take over the business, sell the business, what I should be doing. And I was introduced to Nathan Chandler. He said, in order to try to sell the business, I needed to be on a form that I don't know, I have permission to do that.
Or you had the authority?
The authority, thank you. And Terry had passed, and so I filled out the form and tried to sell the business.
Okay, and I want to show you what the department has marked as exhibit, I believe it's exhibit 4. Is that exhibit 4, Your Honor?
Yes.
And is that the form that you filed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you said the purpose of that was to enable you to see if you could sell the business.
Yes.
And were you able to sell the business?
No.
Okay. During this period of time, did you have any interaction with the accountant who was handling the books?
Judy Carr, no, she stopped answering emails, phone calls, texts, nothing.
Okay. What about the accounting firm that had assisted throughout the years?
Yes, I would ask Michelle questions. She was really, really patient and helpful because I didn't know what a lot of these things were or what to do.
Okay. At this point, Your Honor, I'd like to let Ms. Michelle Puma provide testimony regarding her involvement with the company during this period of time.
Great, please proceed.
Okay. Michelle, are you there?
I am.
Could you tell the court a little bit about your background, please?
Yeah. I work for Crawford Pimentel Corporation. Our company has been the tax preparers for Terry Moody's business probably around the same time that he contacted Nancy 25 years prior. We prepared the corporate tax returns and we prepared the shareholder tax returns. We don't do sales tax, so our involvement with the Moody's and Metal Service Center and the predecessor company, Metal Supermarkets Hayward, was for income tax return filings.
Okay. Do you recall the last time you had contact with Terry Moody?
Honestly, no, it probably would have been an entire year prior to the final year of the well, what should have been like a final tax return. I was also in contact with the bookkeeper. So the normal course of events for our corporate clients is their bookkeeper reaches out to us after the end of the client's tax year and provides their financial statements. We take those financial statements and we prepare their corporate tax returns. So over the years, I had interactions with Judy because she was the one providing the financial statements. So either Terry or Judy would provide the financial statements to prepare the tax returns.
Okay. Prior to Terry's death, had you had any contact with Vesta Moody regarding obtaining any of the information regarding to the company's financial dealings?
No,
It was all with
whatsoever.
it was all with Terry Moody and Judy Carr.
Correct.
Okay. When did you become aware of I apologize to the court. I am in my home office and that is my dog. I hope you don't hear him barking and it's disruptive.
That's fine, thank you.
Okay. If it is, I will put her in the house. Okay. Michelle, when did you become aware of the financial condition of the company?
I'd say a couple years prior to the complete failure of the company because the company had started generating losses. So my recollection is that the company had accumulated losses in excess of $500,000 in the 2 or 3 years leading up to Terry Moody's death. As I understood it from conversations with the bookkeeper before she just stopped working on the accounts for the company, is that, the company their financial condition had deteriorated such that vendors weren't getting paid. One of the vendors that was not getting paid was the company that handled their accounting software. So I think she fell behind in updating bank reconciliations and financial records because my assumption is that she wasn't being paid as well.
Okay.
So there were no financial records available. And then as I understand it, the access to the company's accounting records was shut off because they weren't paying the vendor that managed this program. So the company used an accounting and point of sale software accounting package that is specific to the metal industry.
Okay. And
So they weren't paying their subscription, fees to this accounting package. So a final tax return was never even prepared for the company because we had no financial records to base a tax return on.
now, did Vesta Moody reach out to you requesting your assistance as to, well, how can I acquire this information that the department is asking me to provide to them?
She did. And I said, it's going to be very difficult if you can't access the accounting records, because as I understood it, Judy would be the one to run the reports. So part of this accounting software program not only produces the financial statements, it also tracks the sales, so that's where they extract the information that they use to prepare the sales tax returns. And I believe, again, this is numerous years ago, but to the best of my recollection, I would have told her, I can't even, if you even have access to that program, I don't know this program. I don't know how Judy extracts the information. That was something she handled. I believe the department had asked for bank statements to try to tabulate a sales tax liability in a different manner. So what is very common in a sales tax audit is, you provide, corresponding information for your sales tax returns, which usually entails bank statements. So I said, if you have, bank statements there in the office, you can provide those to them, but I don't know how you get any other information.
Okay. Do you know what ultimately happened to Metal Service Center?
Well, it's got to be just considered defunct as far as the Secretary of State is concerned, because they've never filed a final tax return. So I haven't checked on the Secretary of State website, but normally, I mean, they may have just done an administrative closeout of the company, because I know that a tax return was never filed for this period of time. Because
Do you know whether or not there's ever been any requests on the part of the Internal Revenue Service to sue Metal Service Center for non-payment of these income taxes?
no, not to my knowledge.
Right. And I know there's an indication in the record that Mr. Moody had mentioned to Mr. Chi at one point in time that he was looking into considering bankruptcy filing. Do you have any information about that?
No, but filing for bankruptcy is actually very expensive, so I'm not sure at what point in time Terry considered doing that. I don't know if there are attorneys that specialize in bankruptcy, but it's a process.
Right.
So there are fees associated with it.
Yeah. At this point in time, I'd like to turn for a moment to Vesta Moody, asking at any point in time when you realize the dire financial straits, especially after dealing with the department, did you consult with or talk with a bankruptcy attorney?
Yes, I did. And I had an appointment, and she explained that,
Now, this was attorney Norma Hames.
yes.
Yeah.
That it was a very expensive process. And if the company had no money, it was going to be difficult to file bankruptcy. And without any records for anything, that it would be better just to let it go.
And what did you do then?
I told the few people that were still there that I didn't have any option. I was just going to close the doors and walk away.
And you mentioned that to Mr. Chi or Chai. I'm
No,
sorry. I'm not sure. Is it Chi or Chai? Maybe the
Chi
department.
Wong.
Chi Wong. Chi.
By that time, I wasn't really having communications with him anymore. I explained that I don't have what he wants. I gave him bank records. There was nothing else to give him. And I tried to have him reach out to Judy Carr, because she would be the only ones that had the most up-to-date things. And I don't know that he ever had much luck with her. I started to get letters from the tax people, but it was a lady's name on I want to say Letitia something around that time. I never heard from Mr. Wong again.
Okay. And then when was it that you contacted me to see whether or not I could be of assistance to you?
I think when I realized what a mess this was and how scared I was getting, because I really didn't know what to do. Do I remember exactly when?
Yeah.
Not exactly, because it was so long ago.
Right. At any point in time, to your knowledge, was I involved with your husband regarding any of these tax filings or the financial difficulties he was experiencing?
I didn't think you were, because you hadn't really been in touch. He hadn't needed to have anything vetted, any contracts or anything, to my knowledge. But I still reached out to you because I didn't know who to call.
Okay. And at any point in time, did you review or have me review any of the forms that Auditor Wong had you signed?
No, but I sure wish I had.
Yeah. Did you ever have Ms. Puma review any of the forms that Mr. Wong had you sign?
No, since he had told me I was not taking responsibility, I was just helping him close out his filing. I trusted him, and I should not have.
Right.
I should have reached out to you two lovely ladies and asked for help.
Okay. And I think the court should take notice. I believe it's also in the auditor's notes. At one point in time, he indicated that he wanted Ms. Moody to sign a form so that the statute of limitations wouldn't expire. If she didn't sign the form, then he couldn't proceed further with the investigation.
Yes, correct.
And so you signed the form to be of assistance to him?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Puma, before you stop testifying, I'd like to ask you, based upon your experience with filing of tax returns, sales tax returns, would you have considered Vesta Moody a responsible person within the company in charge of handling these matters?
No, because she's more of like an administrative clerk. I mean, again, let me preface it with, I don't do sales tax returns. I did read the definition, many, many months ago, many years ago, when this whole thing started. She wasn't the owner of the company. Terry Moody was. And I know just from interacting with him and Judy that Judy was the one that prepared the sales tax returns.
Okay. Were you aware of any evidence that that she willfully or intentionally prevented these taxes from being paid?
No.
Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to add that you think might be helpful to the court?
Well, just that from a non-technical standpoint, it just looks, well, the reality is Vesta was just trying to do what she thought was appropriate. One of the forms, the exhibits that you referenced, was a state of information filing that I believe we did have a conversation with after the fact, after Vesta had prepared the statement of information, which is an online filing. I wasn't present when she updated the state of information online, but my assumption is simply that she clicked the button that says there's no changes and filed the statement of information, not knowing that she was listed as an officer on that form. Again, the statement of information forms, we didn't assist the company with preparing those. They're available online. Anyone can look them up. And it looks like Terry was the person that had always prepared the statement of information forms. So I wouldn't have any reason to believe that Vesta had ever prepared a statement of information form. She was at best a clerk. She'd had no knowledge of this form or the implications of what it could potentially mean by keeping the company in active status, because I think that's actually what Nathan was trying to explain to her. If she had tried to sell Terry's business for his estate.
Now, if Vesta, at the time of Terry's death, had just said, hey, I'm not responsible, I give up, I close the doors, could you see her having any liability for income taxes for the company?
No.
Yeah. And I know you just said you don't do sales tax returns. Neither do I. This is a new venture for me as well. If she had just closed the doors and had not signed the documents that Mr. Wong gave her, so that he could continue with his audit, do you see her having any responsibility?
I don't know how she could. She had no sales tax knowledge.
Okay. I mean, at this point, does either the department or the court have any questions they'd like to ask Ms. Puma or myself?
Does that conclude your presentation? Because after your presentation, we'll move into questions.
Okay, other than, I'm sorry, again, you want to just let her in and close the door, Vesta? Can you hear my dog? I apologize.
It's quite all right. Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Should we could take a few minutes for recess if we're still waiting.
Okay, I think she's
Moody to
coming
come
back. Yeah, right back, because I just wanted to make a couple of comments. Are you coming back, Vesta?
Get him to go in the house.
Okay,
I just
but if the
close-
gate's there,
Yeah,
That's
I
fine.
closed the door.
okay.
Sorry.
Just want to say my practice is going to the dogs, right? Vesta, I just want you to let the panel know, what is your situation currently?
I work a full-time job plus a part-time job. I gotta say the stress for all of this has not been great. I've developed heart trouble. I'm sitting here now feeling like I'm going to throw up. But this has been going on for years, and I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought someone was telling me that, you know, he needed help to close out an audit, and I had to sign it because there was no one else there. So I did. I wish to God I had never done that.
Right.
I don't have money to be paying, what is it? $26,798.92.
Now, we had filed on your behalf a petition as an innocent spouse,
Yes.
requesting relief, and it was denied.
Mm-hmm.
And do you recall there was an indication in that denial that, well, you have enough money disposable? No.
Ms. Patel, yeah, the innocent spouse petition, I don't think is before OTA. So I don't think that
Okay.
is in the file.
Okay. Are you in a position to make restitution payments of this amount?
No. November 9th, my daughter and granddaughter moved in with me because they were in a bad situation. My daughter works part-time with autistic children. her income is not great. It's a struggle every month.
Okay. Before I turn it over, then I would just like to say as a summary, I find it very troublesome as an attorney that this has gone on now for almost 10 years. I have never charged Vesta Moody, nor has Michelle Puma, because I find it very disturbing that she is being held responsible for this obligation when in retrospect, she did everything she could to cooperate with the department in obtaining the information they requested. In retrospect, after her husband's death, Vesta should have just closed the doors, walked away, and refused to cooperate at all. But instead, she spent her time and emotional effort. Now, you were going through cancer treatment at the time, were you not?
Yes. I had melanoma surgery in April of that year. And the doctor said because of the stress I was under, I had the reoccurrence in December.
Okay, but you're fine now?
I not good.
Okay,
I get
good.
checked every 6 months.
Okay. But again, I'm very disturbed by the fact that it's clear from Exhibit 1 and Exhibit 2, and we didn't get into that one, but that showed all of the department's contact with Metal Service Center was with Terry Moody prior to his death. And Vesta was the one who contacted the department to say, hey, my husband passed away. I know nothing about this. And then all of a sudden, the department's records reflect, hey, Vesta Moody's the one that's in charge, and she's the one that should be responsible. And again, I renew my request that this should be brought to a conclusion with the determination that Vesta Moody, number one, is not a responsible party, and at no time did she will fail to pay or cause to be paid the taxes due. And the fact that the taxes were not paid was not the result of an intentional, conscious, and voluntary course of action on her part. To the contrary, she did everything she could to salvage the business, to try to get some money to pay the taxes, which again was to her detriment. She should have just said, okay, just like Judy Carr had done. Mm-hmm. Just like Aaron, who had been in the business before, saying, I'm not responsible. I'm closing the doors. Goodbye. But she did not. And again, I renew my request that she should not be held responsible for this obligation.
Thank you. Ms. Patel, I erroneously stated that the innocent spouse information wasn't in the file, and it looks like the letter was submitted as Exhibit H to respondents' brief. Or so if you had a comment that you wanted to make about that, please go ahead and do so now.
Well, I found it very disconcerting that in that determination, it was found that despite all of the hardship she was experiencing, that she had a disposable income of $230 a month. And that, therefore, this should go to the department for this obligation. I also find it reprehensible how much time and effort and taxpayers' money has been spent by attorneys. Look, the department has 3 attorneys at this hearing, and I'm sure they're all being paid their salary for being at this hearing for the sole purpose of trying to collect $230 a month from this woman who lost her husband, is a widow now, and did everything she could do to try and salvage this company in order to pay off this obligation. And I rest on that comment.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Bedford, did you have any questions for any of the three witnesses?
No, we do not.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let me check with my co-panelists. Judge Long, did you have any questions for Ms. Patel or either of the other witnesses?
Yes, I do. I have just a few questions for Ms. Moody, and Ms. Moody, thank you for sharing your story today. I'm sure it's difficult. I just wanted to ask, I'm looking at Exhibit 4, which is the Secretary of State Statement of Information that was filed on July 10th, 2017. And that is after Mr. Moody's death, correct?
Yes, when I was trying to find if someone could come in.
Do you see it right there?
Yes,
Okay.
come in and either take over the business.
Oh, no.
Oh, let me stop you just for a minute. Ms. Moody, we are unable to hear you. I don't know if you can hear us. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? Okay, so we are unable to hear you. Looks like we lost connection. Can you say like testing?
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, looks like we have you back. So
Okay.
yeah, if you could go ahead and proceed.
Okay. I am so sorry. Yes, I see the paper. Yes, that was the one that I filled out when I was trying to find someone who could help find a buyer for the business, or someone who could come in, take over, and try to figure out what's wrong and what to do. And I was advised that I need to have myself down as an authorized person. And I said, well, I'm not, but Terry's dead. So as his wife, I guess it was okay. I wish I'd never done that. I wish I had not followed that advice.
I understand. Okay, but and when Mr. Moody died, who became the owner of the company?
No one did. It was just there.
Okay. And then moving on. So, but with respect to the Secretary of State information, Secretary of State Statement of Information, at that point, you filled that paperwork out. And I understand your reasoning for it, but there's no dispute that you identified yourself as the CEO at that point.
What did I put it down?
Chief Executive Officer of Vesta Moody.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. And then I want to move on to the return, the sales and use tax return for the third quarter of 2017, because my understanding is that the only quarters in dispute currently are the third and fourth quarter of 2017, which is after Mr. Moody died. I understand your testimony was in a lot of ways that people weren't coming into work, the business was shutting down. It does look like there were significant sales in that third quarter. What can you explain those sales?
Not really. I wasn't really working in the store like that. I was trying to figure out what was going on. I know that in order to do things, they needed material, and the guys would get some and sell, and sell it, and try to pay some of the creditors that were hounding at the door all the time.
Okay, and then who because my understanding is that the bookkeeper that normally completed the sales and use tax returns, she quit. Had she quit at this point? Who prepared this return, the third quarter of 2017 return?
I never filled out anything for a third quarter. I thought Judy was gone before that. I thought the tax people figured out they had done it.
Your Honor, what exhibit are you looking at so I can show it to her?
I am looking at Exhibit I in the hearing binder.
Okay.
It's the return for July through September 2017.
Okay. It's probably way down here. Does it have her signature on it?
No, it's not signed by anybody.
I was gonna say, I wouldn't know how to do one of those things.
Your Honor, what does it say? I'm looking at page 29 of 90.
No, it should be page 1 of 22, Exhibit I in the hearing binder.
Exhibit
I think
A.
it's page 179 of the hearing binder.
Okay,
Oh.
170.
Thank you, Judge Ralston.
Sure.
Oh, sorry. Oh, here it is. Page 43 of 60.
Whoa, I think you just went past. There's 176.
Where? You saw 176?
Slow down. If you look to the far right, you can see where it says 166
Oh,
202.
okay. I'm sorry. What, Your Honor, was it
179.
Okay, thank you, Vesta. 79. Okay, here it is. Whoops. And it says Board of Equalization from October 31st, 2017 through July.
Well, the due date would be October 31st, 2017. But yeah, the quarter is July through September 2017.
Okay, we've got it right here. Do you see this, Vesta?
Yes, I do.
Did you fill in any of this information?
No, I did not.
Have you ever seen this before?
No, I have not.
And it goes on page 2. So you, as you say, you have no idea where this
I have
information
no idea
came
what
from.
that is.
Okay. Well, thank you. I don't have any other questions then. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Long. Judge Lambert, did you have any questions for any of the witnesses?
I have no questions at this time. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Judge Lambert. So we are ready to move on to the respondent's presentation. Ms. Bedford, I believe you requested 20 minutes, so you may begin when you're ready.
This is Jason Parker. I just have one thing to add before Ms. Bedford gives her presentation. Ms. Patel was talking about the $570 statement of account. That actually has a different account number listed on the statement than what the primary account for the Metal Service Center has. So
What is that?
What is this for then?
as Mr. Backus mentioned earlier, it's for what we call a collection cost recovery fee. And so it appears that was billed, it looked like in August of 21.
So in addition to the 26,000, is there another account out there that she owes money on?
In our system, it appears that way, but I'd have to double check with our team to see whether that should have been issued or not. Because I see that the dual determination was petition timely, so it should not have gone into collection. So I'm uncertain at this point whether that collection cost recovery fee was valid or not. But it is related to, in our system, a different account number.
Now I'm very concerned because what you're saying is her liability exposure may not be just the 26,000, but there's another account out there. I mean, when she brought this to me this morning, quite frankly, I said, she looked at me, she said, Nancy, I'll write a check for $570 now just to get this behind me.
So
But
Ms. Patel, I think if that is a different account, then that is not before us at OTA. So I think that would probably be better for you to discuss with CDTFA after this hearing. And they may be able to, let you know what the other account is related to. that would be Mr. Parker. Is there like someone that they could speak to that maybe could help clear this up like after this hearing? I just we're live streamed right now, and this is going on our website, so I don't know if we want to discuss a separate account on the live stream and have that posted.
Right, they can contact me and I can reach out to them by email with my contact information if they don't have it.
Do you have my contact information, Mr. Parker?
I'm sure we have it in the record.
Yeah.
I can double check that, but I'm sure I have your
Okay.
contact information.
Yes, I'd be very interested in hearing what this potential liability is.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to proceed. Ms. Bedford, you can begin with your presentation. After that, we'll give Ms. Patel a chance to respond, and then we should be able to wrap this up.
Thank you. The primary issue in this appeal is whether appellant is personally liable for the unpaid tax, interest, and penalties of Metal Service Center, Inc., MSC, for the period of July 1st, 2017 through December 19th, 2017. The department maintains its position that appellant is liable pursuant to Revenue and Taxation Code Section 6829 for the unpaid liabilities of MSC for the liability period. As you're aware, 4 elements must be met to impose personal liability under Section 6829. 1. The corporation's business must be terminated, dissolved, or abandoned. 2. The corporation must have collected sales tax reimbursement on its retail sales of tangible personal property and failed to pay it to the department. 3. The person must have been responsible for the filing of returns or the payment of sales and use tax, or under a duty to act for the corporation in complying with the sales and use tax law. And 4. The person's failure to pay the taxes due from the corporation must have been willful. As to the first element, whether the corporation's business was terminated, appellant filed 2 notices of closeout with the department dated January 31st, 2018, Exhibit A, page 21, and March 19th, 2018, Exhibit A, page 22. The department closed MSC's seller permit effective December 19th, 2017. Appellant has not disputed that the business has terminated. As to the second element, personal liability can be imposed only to the extent the corporation collected sales tax reimbursement on its sales of tangible personal property in the state, but failed to remit the tax to the department when due. Revenue Taxation Code Section 6829C, Regulation 1702.5A. The evidence demonstrates that MSC collected sales tax reimbursement during the liability period. CDTFA 1296, Account Update Information, dated January 26, 2018, Exhibit A, page 23, indicates that sales tax reimbursement was added to the selling price. CDTFA 414E, Report of Field Audit, dated January 30th, 2018, Exhibit A, pages 24 to 44, also states that sales tax reimbursement was separately added to the selling price. Further, appellant concedes that MSC collected sales tax reimbursement during the liability period. Exhibit A, page 8, lines 1 to 3. As to the third element, whether appellant was responsible person, the evidence shows that appellant had control, supervision of, and the responsibility for the filing of returns or the payment of tax, and had a duty to act for the corporation in complying with the sales and use tax law. According to appellant, she had authority to access MSC's bank accounts and handle MSC's financial matters after her husband's passing on May 25th, 2017. Exhibit A, page 11, lines 13 to 15. Prior to this, appellant was listed as a director on MSC's Statement of Information dated June 29, 2004, Exhibit A, page 19. On May 30th, 2017, appellant requested that the department postpone the audit, Exhibit A, page 46. On August 8th, 2017, appellant met with the department to discuss the audit and to provide documents, Exhibit A, page 47. Appellant continued to discuss the audit with the department through the end of January 2018, Exhibit A, pages 47 to 49. On July 10th, 2017, MSC filed an updated statement of information listing appellant as CEO, Exhibit A, page 20. Appellant has also executed various CDTFA forms on behalf of MSC during the third quarter of 2017, including a waiver of the statute of limitations on December 15th, 2017, Exhibit A, page 51, and a record update on September 15th, 2017, Exhibit A, page 53, and other forms in January 2018, Exhibit A, pages 21, 23, 50, and 52. Appellant's involvement in discussing MSC's tax matters and signing various tax forms on its behalf demonstrates that appellant had responsibility for and control over MSC's sales and use tax matters during the liability period. As to the fourth element of personal liability, the evidence shows that appellant's failure to pay MSC's tax liabilities was willful. Failure to pay is willful if the person had knowledge that the taxes were not being paid and had the authority and ability to pay the taxes but failed to do so. Failure to pay may be willful even without bad purpose or motivation. Regulation 1702.5 B2. MSC's unpaid sales tax liabilities, including tax, interest, and penalties, originate from a self-assessed sales and use tax return for 3Q17 filed with partial remittance, Exhibit A, pages 59 to 80, Exhibits I and J, and a notice of determination dated February 4th, 2021, issued to MSC when it failed to file its 4Q17 sales and use tax return, Exhibit A, page 81. The notice of determination is based on an estimate of MSC's sales for 4Q17. The estimate was subsequently reduced by 50% based on a re-audit, Exhibit B. During the liability period, appellant engaged in conversations with the department regarding MSC's sales and use tax liabilities. On August 8th, 2017, the following matters were discussed with appellant: resale certificates, which include information on why a transaction is not subject to sales tax tax reconciliation for the ongoing audit showing a difference of about $11,000, and delivery charges, including the provision of a hyperlink to Publication 100, which includes a statement regarding reporting total sales for a reporting period and sales and use tax returns, Exhibit A, pages 45 to 49. Additionally, appellant concedes that it was at this meeting that she first became aware of the outstanding sales tax liabilities that should have been remitted to the department, appellant's opening brief, page 7. At this meeting, the auditor also discussed errors in the MSC audit based on the sales data given by Mr. Moody, i.e., sales tax reconciliation differences in an amount of about $11,000, delivery charges where items were shipped by MSC's own truck, and a tax rate deficiency for Hayward starting in October 2014, as Hayward has a sales tax in addition to that imposed by Alameda County. While the audit liabilities are not at issue in determining appellant's liability pursuant to Section 6829, it does demonstrate that appellant was aware that MSC had outstanding liabilities and that she was essentially on notice for future liabilities for MSC. On September 13th, 2017, during the 3Q17 liability period, appellant discussed XYZ letters, which mentioned sales claimed on sales tax returns, and the application of sales tax to salesmen to nonprofit organizations and local governments, Exhibit A, pages 45 to 49. In the following months, through the liability period, appellant discussed XYZ letters further, partial manufacturing exempting certificates, interest applied to the audit tax liability, and the optional online payments, and received the audit working papers and discussed them with the department. The department sent a demand for payment, dated October 4th, 2017, to MSC for the month of August 2017, which shows that MSC's prepayment taxes were due and were not paid in full, Exhibit G. On March 14th, 2018, the department informed appellant that the 4Q17 return was delinquent and that there was an outstanding balance, Exhibit A, page 54. Thus, appellant had knowledge that the 3Q17 and 4Q17 tax liabilities were not being paid at the latest as of March 14th, 2018. However, because appellant had knowledge of the reporting requirements and was a person responsible for MSC sales and use tax matters, the evidence proves that appellant had knowledge of MSC's 3Q17 and 4Q17 tax liabilities were due and not being paid as of the date those returns were due, October 31st, 2017 and January 31st, 2018, respectively. Appellant was the person responsible for MSC's sales tax liabilities for the liability period. The evidence shows that appellant was generally authorized to manage MSC's sales and use tax affairs during the liability period and after. Appellant was listed as MSC CEO on the 2017 Statement of Information, dated July 10th, 2017, Exhibit C, page 50. Appellant had multiple contacts with the department to discuss sales and use tax matters beginning August 2017, Exhibit A, pages 45 to 49. Hired an outside party to organize the sale of MSC, Exhibit A, page 8, and had access to and the ability to use MSC's bank accounts, Exhibit A, page 11, lines 13 to 15. This evidence demonstrates that appellant had the authority to pay MSC's taxes or to cause them to be paid on and after the dates those taxes were due. There is no evidence in the record indicating that appellant's authority was limited in any way. As to appellant's ability to pay the taxes, the evidence shows that MSC had funds available to pay the taxes throughout the liability period. For example, appellant's own supplemental statements for her penalty relief request, signed under the penalty of perjury, includes a summary of disbursements made from MSC's bank account, which were payroll-related and made to others, Exhibit A, page 82 and pages 83 to 89. MSC paid wages during the liability period in the amount of about $288,000, Exhibit C, page 5, and MSC received merchant payments during the liability period in the amount of about $257,000, Exhibit C, pages 5 and 51. This information, considered together with the fact that MSC collected sales tax reimbursement during the liability period, shows that funds were available to pay the taxes for the liability period, but the funds were paid to other creditors instead. Appellant makes several arguments against her personal liability under Section 6829. First, appellant argues in the opening brief that she was not a responsible person regarding the filing of sales and use tax returns, pointing to business practices that she assumed would continue into the liability period and her general lack of knowledge regarding sales and use tax matters. Appellant further argues that funds were not available to pay the examining tax liabilities. The evidence presented, however, demonstrates that appellant was the responsible person during the liability period and that appellant had control, supervision of, and the responsibility for the filing of returns or the payment of tax, and had a duty to act for MSC in complying with the sales and use tax law, including that funds were available to pay the taxes for the liability period. Appellant also argues that the department coerced or tricked her into signing forms on behalf of MSC, providing her with misleading information or took advantage of an unsophisticated person. There is no documentary evidence that the department did any of the above, including regarding appellant signing any of the aforementioned forms pertaining to MSC. Rather, the available evidence shows that appellant undertook these tasks and responsibilities voluntarily. Based on all the evidence provided, the department has met its burden on each of the elements for imposing personal liability pursuant to Section 6829. For these reasons, we request that the appeal be denied. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bedford. Does that conclude your presentation?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Judge Long, did you have any questions for the respondent?
I do not have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And Judge Lambert, did you have any questions for the respondent?
I have no questions. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Patel, would you like the opportunity for a rebuttal? Oh, you are still muted. Let's see, I think I can unmute.
There I go.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, as far as Ms. Bedford's 4 points, the 4 points, yes, there's no dispute over the fact that the corporation had dissolved. At the time that these remaining tax obligations were due. However, as far as the second element, that she must have collected the sales tax during the period in question. When she collected any monies, there was never any indication of, oh, okay, this portion relates to sales tax. This portion relates to monies that I can, pay out for ongoing obligations. She made no such distinction because she wasn't aware of it. All that she was aware of is I want to collect what monies are available and pay the ongoing expenses. It's not until she fully cooperated with the department in providing the documentation that they needed in order to create an assessment and say, wait a minute, this is what you owe in unpaid sales taxes, that she was aware, oh, out of that money that I collected, maybe that portion would be attributable to sales tax. But when that money was collected, she had no idea of that distinction. She paid the money out to the creditors, to the workers during that period of time. And then when the tax liability, the sales tax liability, came to her and they said, okay, you owe this amount, there was no money in the bank account. At that period in time, there was no money. So how could she have willfully not paid that money when there was no money there? I am very troubled by the fact of the third quarter sales tax return. Who prepared that document? Vesta Moody said she didn't. Judy Carr was not around. Obviously, there must have been someone within the department that prepared that document based upon the information that Vesta Moody was able to provide. And as Michelle Puma had testified, she wasn't able to access a lot of this information because the accounting software package that the company used, I think it was called Metal Magic.
I think so.
And it was unique to the metal fabrication industry. Vesta couldn't access that information because the account was closed for non-payment.
Yeah, we couldn't access anything. I even asked if we could just get in for an hour to try to pull out some documents.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let us.
So I'm just perplexed as to who prepared those sales tax returns and why aren't they signed? The department accepted an unsigned sales tax return. Again, there's the argument. So I don't think she must have collected sales tax during that period of time. It's undisputed she collected what money she could, but she had no indication that, okay, I'm collecting this and this is sales tax and I should keep it aside. And I'm collecting this to handle everything else. Money came in, she paid what she could to try to salvage a failing business. Once again, I don't think was she the person for filing these returns? No, up until Terry's death, it's clear that he was and Judy Carr was. After his death, she was the only person there. She was the only person who, I guess, technically had control and supervision, but she didn't have the knowledge. She didn't have the information. And she didn't, she might have had the authority to get into the bank accounts. And if she did, she passed all of that information onto the department. And again, I don't believe that there's sufficient evidence that any failure to pay the accrued tax returns was willful or intentional on her part, because when she became aware of the exact amount, there was no money there. How could she have paid them? And that's when she decided, look, I can't do anything. The business is closing. So I I'm very troubled that not only is the department saying she owes 20, now owes 26,798.92, but whoa, there's a new account out here. Perhaps she owes more. Come on, this lady has been through so much. I implore that you finally find that she has no liability for this obligation. I thank you for your consideration.
Okay, thank you. Looks like we are ready to conclude this hearing. So this case is submitted on January 22nd, 2026, and the record is now closed. The judges will meet to deliberate and decide your case, and we will issue a written opinion within 100 days. As Mr. Parker stated, he will reach out to you and address the other account that was raised. And as far as our part, we'll send you your opinion within 100 days. This hearing is adjourned, and that concludes the hearing calendar for today. Thank you.
Thank you.